All right. What do we got here? A preview of the PCE. It should be spitting out any second. It's got to be there. I mean, it's like I think we're right on the numbers here. Let's take a look at the U.S. stock market. This is Doc. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Let's see how the stock market's acting from this thing. I guess it's... Is that it? I guess that's right there. Yeah, that's it, right? The number just came out right here. And the S&P is doing nothing. You know, it's up. There's a rally already going on in the market, so it doesn't really matter. And or I guess you could call it a rally. It's only up a half a percentage point in the Dow. Nasdaq or the Tech 100 is up 1.5, and the S&P 500 is up about 0.9. To be exact, it was 0.85 a few seconds ago. So they're saying initial jobless claims, GDP, final read, August. Here it is. Let's see what they have to say. It dropped 2.9. Dropped to 2.9. Okay, it's down to 2.8. They were expecting 2.9. I can see that the yield on the 30-year is moving up again. I think it's moving up. Maybe it's moving down. All the others are the 10 years up. The 5-year is up. So real GDP is 3% versus 3% estimated. All right. Not bad. It's it's just where it wants to be. I mean, the stock market is up. And the stock market is part of the gross domestic product, GDP. So it's about a quarter of it or something like that, or a third. So, since the market is up 30% for the year, and was it up almost 2% for the month, if not more than that, 2.5% for the month, that 2.5% adds a 0.5% easily into the GDP. So just the stock market being up gives it a push, Again, that's half the reason why the Federal Reserve keeps on holding the stock market up. They want these numbers to look good. It's an election year. It's an election month. We're getting very close to the end of the month, which will be Monday. And so that'll put us literally 4.5 weeks to the election itself. Initial jobless claims, 218,000 versus 225,000. So a little bit stronger, I guess, there. But then they'll change it. They'll move it around. It's not that big a deal, but they do get excited about it for a few minutes. Let's see. What do we have up on the screen there? What am I looking at there? I have... that's Tesla. Yeah, look at Tesla this morning. Just keeps on climbing. It's good solid 5 days in a buy. 9 out of the last 11 days in a buy. 11 out of the last... is it 4? That's 6. And 5 is 11. So 11 out of the last 16 days? 18 days? 11? Something like that. So, and it's been in a weekly buy for 3 full weeks now. So all the way back in... around in here somewhere, went into the buy, it looks like. There's the 13th. There's the 13th, like that, right in there. So it went into the buy right there. I don't know, I was just looking at Tesla, just wondering what was going on. Nothing major. I didn't got any strong opinion or weak opinion or no opinion at this point. Hello, Robin. So, that's pretty much it. Stock market up, 30% for the year has got to put pressure on the GDP to be up and away. All right, let's take a look at the dollar index. DX. Alright. Let's see. We're looking through all of them. We'll find it in a few seconds. I think it's way up top. That's what it is. There it is right there. There's the dollar index. You see it jumped into a buy yesterday. See that right there? Just move it over so you can see that. And now it's pressing down, and we got a green dot though. We'll see how well that lasts. It's the second week in a weekly sell. It's been a lot of weekly sells. I don't expect to see anything but a mild dollar with the interest rates the way they are. The fact that the dollar index stays over the 100 mark is always interesting. And I can see that they did challenge the low yesterday of 99.91 from all those other lows where they broke the century mark and then just pushed it down a little bit. So let's see what else is there. I guess that's about the name of that tune. Whereas this one is 99.88. So this one was a little bit lower there on the 18th. And yesterday they knocked it down and lifted it up. And it seems like the whole market is, just following the stock market at this point. And I'm talking about currencies and, bonds are bonds. They're never going to pay attention to anybody but bonds. Bonds are the most clear message about what real money thinks. And then, the government can influence the short term, but it's the long term that really, is the thing we watch. Like 10-year, 20-year type of thing. In this case here, the 5-year. No, I'm sorry, the 6 month and the 1 month, is still high. Let's take a look at that. We haven't looked at that in a couple of days, or a couple of weeks actually. Trading, and there is the bond last transactions. The 1 month is trading at 4.7 basically, 697. And then you can see the 2 month is a little underneath it, and then the 3 month a little underneath that. And they move all the way down to, the 1 year gets down to almost 4%, a little underneath 4%, 3.93 right there. So, what else can we say about any of this? It's becoming like Fantasy Island, a lot of crazy stuff going on. Here's the 30-year trading at 414. And the 10-year, I guess the yields have all gone up and the price is going down. I guess that's how it works. And what does that change? Okay, that's interesting. So 4.697 on, it's the top to bottom. I see. Okay. I like that. That's not bad. Just switching it from top to bottom, bottom to top. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, so that's where we are at the moment, and we're just going through the process. Really, nothing more than that. This is government. This is the Federal Reserve holding up the market so that they can basically say it's not going down. That's what it comes down to. And when voters look at their monthly statement, they see it's better than the last month. That's a good thing. I mean, for the people, they like that. And then the top part of it all is that it holds the GDP up. The GDP, like I said, is about 30%, 25-30% of the indicator for GDP. So, as long as they keep the stock market up, it's going to continuously show, solid strength. And then it goes from there. So, it's a controlled environment. I guess that's the best way to describe it. A controlled environment. All right, let's go over and take a look at the currencies. Take a look at. I know that the euro had jumped back into the buy. You can see that on the spreadsheet. No, wait a minute. What is it? Did it try to go in the sell? Oh, it was a red and a green. Let's put it up on the screen here. So the euro against the dollar, right there, was a red and a green. So it's still in the buy. And you can see that the weekly's still pushing down, though. I'm a little confused. It moved up a little bit, then started dropping again. And, so the euro is not holding up as well as the cable. Here's the cable. Cable's, showing lots more strength. Still consistently in a buy. And what else can we say? And the weekly buy looks fine. So the actions of the currency market are trying to tell us that sideways to sideways. In other words, there's no real push. It's a channel. We've been talking about this forever and ever. A lot of products we have on the screen that we look at every day. We have big boxes around them, big rectangles, watching the channel, how they trade. They all seem to be just locked in. And so we've got about another 4.5 weeks of this action. That's what it really comes down to. I understand now almost half the states are voting by mail. So, they're out there doing that. And then in 3 weeks, we'll have some early voting. We'll start 10 days ahead of time here in this state. And so it'll be voting will be 10 days long. So they're just stretching everything out. This way they can get a feel if they're losing. They can invent votes. That's what they usually do. And I think this year is going to be a very tough year about it because Mr. Trump has caught on to the game. And so he'll do the same thing. It'll be 50% less than what they normally would produce in votes. Invented votes, designer votes. All right. From there, we'll take a look at. There's the Swiss. Swiss is in one of those big triangles right there. See, it's trying to perk its head up again. We went. I thought I moved those things around. So it went into the buy there, and then it went into the sell right there, and it's still trying to. Where are we on the spreadsheet on that? Swiss. So 2 days in a sell, and it's trying to lift up into a buy today. Need to get rid of that red dot to get it into the buy itself. And you can see the weekly is penetrating the 0 line right there. So we got that the weekly trying to penetrate up. A little surprising, because I kind of like watching the Swiss more than I like watching the euro when it comes to trying to understand the dollar. So if the Swiss starts to go up, it means it's losing against the dollar, which means it's a stronger dollar, which is interesting in its own right. Because Mr. Trump is leading Ms. Harris in the polls, and he talks about a strong dollar, and the media keeps on saying that he'll hurt the dollar. So, but that's opposition more than anything else. That's not an honest opinion from a unbiased viewers. And so that's where we're at this point with that. Let's go to the yen. See what the yen's up to. The yen's jumped into that. Let's grab a buy. There's a buy. We'll put that in there like that. Went into the buy there, and it's still pushing up on the daily. The weekly now is penetrating through the 0 line in both the fast and the slow. So pressure is on. I myself obviously always hope for everybody's currency to do well. We're not big fans of inflationary currencies solely because it's so much better to, for the population of a country to have a firm currency that's not volatile. And so, unfortunately for the yen, it's gone from like 80s, 70s, and 80s up to $1.60, 1.61, and now it's backing off a little bit down into the low 40s. But at the moment, we're watching it firm up again, and that's not something we really wish for, All right. Here's the great experiment. And it's going to take a lot of work to get this thing back down in its box. It wants to invent a new box, it looks like. And you can see it went into the buy here 2 days back, and it's the third day now in a buy. And where's Turkish lira on there? Yeah, it just says 1 day in a buy. It should be 2. That should be 2. There we are. So Turkish lira is trying to go in the wrong direction again. In other words, it's not a good thing when it rises. That means it's losing against the Turkish lira. In this case here, it's not a dollar Turkish lira. It is the euro Turkish lira, because we figure that we get a more honest view of the Turkish lira by, a currency that's used a lot in Turkey. In other words, to transact things in Europe. So, and you can see here, though, at the same time, the weekly still seems to be the weekly. It's in a weekly sell, and it's not really pushing down in any particular way, more than what it has been all week long. It started off in the sell. It tried to lift up. I guess that put some pressure on it there. This one right there yesterday. I guess we need to, if we go up and challenge this area here, more than likely we will see this move back into the weekly buy. But again, we sit back and watch it, and these things are all governed by things like inflation and interest rates, all the mechanics, all the fundamentals that make these products move along. All right, and then from there, we'll go over to South African Rand. There it is right there. Now, that's confusing me. Did the box move wrong? I don't remember it being over that area. Does anybody here remember that? I almost want to go play yesterday's, video. I don't remember it being down there like that. That's pretty cool. So we are now going after the 1700, which makes a lot of sense. I guess that it broke the box. But I don't remember talking about it down. I could have sworn we were talking about it in the 1750 area. And here we are challenging the 117 even area, which is, that's a very, positive thing for the metals market. So I imagine when we go over and look at gold and silver and so forth, we'll see some strength in it. I know we're seeing platinum in there. Let's go take a look. There's gold. Gold is over $2,700. And now the all-time high is $2,709, basically. $2,709. 8.7 to be exact. And then we go take a look at silver. Must be over the 32 and a quarter area, 32 and a half. Over 32 and a half with a high today of 33. Nice. So the South African Rand is giving us that clear direction, as it has been for days and weeks now, telling us that the metals wants to rally. All right, and then from there we go and take a look at, I imagine copper is following the success of China, so it's got to be flying. Yeah, look at that. Pushed it down a little bit yesterday, or broke even, I guess. But now we're in like 11 days. That is line, let's see where that's at. Right there. At 12 days now in a daily buy. Look at that. Right there. 12 days. 2 weeks in daily buy. And then we go over to the dangerous one. The danger zone. And that is platinum. Right there. Woo doggy! Up $25. And it was even higher than that. So we got 3 days in a buy. We've got 3 weeks in a buy. And platinum is, very comfortable. It's still screaming at me. I can hear it in my head. We're looking at gold here, and there's a good chance that gold, actually triples to platinum. It wouldn't surprise me if gold gets up to 3,000 somewhere along the line over the next 3 months to 6 months. All right. So that's the wildest of the wild. Platinum trading almost third of what gold is. But when you go into the jewelry store or something of that nature, you find out that it's trading at the same price physically. All right, and that is the metals sector. We did that not bad. We did that like in the first 20 minutes. How about that? So we've looked at the metal sector. The oil sector looks kind of interesting too now. Here is West Texas Intermediate. And it's flirting with the buy. You can see it there, bouncing back and forth. I mean, it's in the buy and flirting with the sell at the moment. Now let's go over to the beta. We'll put that in over in the beta. There it is right there. You see, oil is a third day in a sell. There it is on the spreadsheet. Right there, 3 days in a sell, 1 week in a buy, and let's see now. Yeah, see, it's trying to get into the buy here. I think we're just on the edge. We're just on that edge right there. Minus 0.07, and on the old platform, let's just show you the old platform again. On the old platform, it jumped into a weekly buy last week. That's very interesting. You can see jumping into the weekly buy was not exactly the best thing. It's been in a daily sell for the last 4 days. And over here on the beta, which is telling us the same story, you can see it there, 4 days in a sell. And there's your weekly. It's been in a sell for 4 weeks. This is going on a 5th week. It's trying. It was trying to battle its way back. Now, in this case here, you can see that the old platform is a little less accurate. You know, in other words, this is the new beta platform that we've designed. Is basically reading this market with no problem. And we're real happy with that. And as time goes on, this way clients can use the platform and look at, when they want to look at it, they can look at it and say, okay, I can look at my product, before the market, during the market, and at the end of the market, not have to have us email them, which will be very positive. What else we got brewing here? So that's the crude. Let's take a look at Brent. I'd imagine Brent is looking the same way. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. Let's go Brent. I think that's BZ, is it? BR? I think it's BR. BR. There's BZ maybe. There it is right there. And there's the Brent. We're looking at Brent trading in the 70, what is that? Right there, $71.40. You see it's doing the same thing on the daily, pushing down. Down, 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 down. Let's give it another spin there. Refresh it so you can see it. And then you can see the weekly, which was trying to get under the buy, has rolled over like West Texas Intermediate. So both of them are showing us more of selling than they are showing us buying. I heard somebody say something. Let me go back to West Texas really quick. I heard someone say something about the idea of watch the 64 area. That's it. Watch the 64 area. So I think we're like 67 now. Where are we at here? 68.15 with a low of 67.16. So it's $1 off its low today. So they're watching. I guess here's that low. Maybe that's the low right there. Yeah, 64.61. And that's one of those classics where you set up the trend line, across, like the line right there, and watch that and see, We can go to. I don't know if we'll even be able to go back that far with West Texas. Let's see. Let's see, West Texas. I don't think so. I don't think we were back that. I mean, it's been 80, 85, 90, things like that, but it definitely has not challenged the. When was the last time it was down in the 64s? Besides, 3 weeks ago. Not since. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I don't see it at all. Well, doubt. It's been a couple years since we've seen the 64s. Since the Trump years. Mr. Trump had it down to 0 at one point, one day. It was insane. Matter of fact, it was minus $39 one day. Minus $39. So in other words, someone would give you, $39 a barrel to take it off their hands. That's pretty wild stuff. All right. Let's take a look at the nat gas right there. You see that's been lifting and lifting and lifting. Interesting that there's pressure on the algorithm today to push it down, but we've been in a daily buy for 4 weeks there now. And where's the nat gas on this thing? There's right there. So it has 3 weeks. We're 3 weeks there. This is telling us 4, and it's been more accurate, that's for sure. And lots of buys more than sells. From there, we'll go over and take a look at the oil market in the sense of the fuel itself that goes into the machines. And this is the heating oil or the airplane fuel or / the truck fuel. It does all 3 of those things. There we are. You can see there's 3 solid days in a sell. And what do we have up on? I don't think we even have it on the spreadsheet. We don't. And then on the weekly, what do we have on the weekly? It's in a, man, it's been in a sell for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is the 12th week in a sell. So that's definitely fighting not to show life whatsoever. Let's see. That's nice. Mm-hmm. All right. Where do we go from there? I guess we go from there to. That's right. I didn't get a chance. I wanted to look for more energy companies, and I didn't. So we've shown you natural gas and heating oil, both Brent and crude. And let's just go take a look at the oil company down in Spain, which I would imagine is down for the day, just because of that. But there's a couple of energy companies down there that we probably should gravitate towards. I'd like to find that original one I used to follow. That thing was really locked. Now look at that. I would have thought it was going to be down for the day, but instead it's very firm. It's not roaring in any particular direction, but you can say it's in a weekly buy, and it's trying to get it. I'm sorry, it's in a daily buy for 4 days now, and it's trying to climb into the weekly buy. And this is the energy company, so I guess they're starting to anticipate the increase of winter energy costs, and obviously, especially with that wild situation in Europe right now, where early snows are coming, and we're seeing a lot of action like that. It's that is the whole thing right there. Okay, interesting. Yep. So that's the energy sector. And that pretty much brings us to the first half hour of the webinar. Not bad. So we're going to be able to really search around. I wouldn't mind looking for other energy companies in Europe to try to follow it. This is kind of a little stalled. This is that energy company out in Spain, and it's come off the lows, and no doubt it's doing the same thing as it's just, there's June and July. There was some major gap there. I'd like to find something that is not as gappy. So let me just go over here and look. Spanish or Spain. Let's just do Spain. Spain. Spain oil stocks. Sure would love to compare the best Spanish energy stocks. Quote. Let's see. Now here they are here. Let's see if we can find that one we followed when we were using the J4X. I would imagine it's in the 20s. That's why we picked NTGY, because we felt that it might be, a good example of it. Let's see. There's 19. Yeah, without a doubt, I would expect it to be higher. So there's NGI. Who else is there? Let's take a look at this stock and see how that is. Boy, that's been a rampage. Let's go back. Let's see where we at. Let's just go back again. Oil stocks of IEA countries. See what that does. Spain, 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 Spain. No, that's too much information there. We'll just go back to it. So we'll hunt over the weekend. Maybe even after the webinar, I'll go hunt down and see if I can find that oil company. That completes it on the energy side here. So unless anybody has an energy question, we can always come back to it. I don't have any problems with that. Let's go take a look at the world and how they've been trading in stocks, because there's major stimulation going on everywhere. We'll start off in Tokyo, which seems to be the number one stock market in the Asian community, or Europe, Pacific community. Let's put it that way. And you can see there they lifted it back up, putting more strength into it, and it's through the weekly too at the same time. Now, this is good, but at the same time we have to be concerned about the inflation factor there, because when we see strength like that, a lot of times it means that they're very nervous about inflation. Money managers will buy stocks because they can pass along expenses, that type of thing. From there, we'll zip over to, let's take a look at the Kospi in, where's the Kospi? That's the country next to Japan, which is South Korea right there. And here it comes. And you see that's lifting up too. After them punching it down yesterday, they're picking it up. And it's, look at that weekly. It's just like no problem there. And it was a lunar month thing going on, or quarter, so that's kind of backing off a little bit now. Then from there, we go to, let's do Taiwan. Then we'll go to mainland China. Taiwan's just been climbing. It's like yesterday when we looked at it, we really had that feeling, just looking at the way the charts were acting and the way the algorithms have been acting, that they were front running. They knew that this thing was coming. Look at that there. Last week they came in the buy. So it came in the buy last week, and you've got all this strength here, and pretty much to a great extent what you've had is out of the last 7 days, or out of the last 8 days, actually. Out of the last 8 days? Let's see, 3, 3, and 3. Out of the last 9 days, so 9 out of 10 have been in buys. That's pretty powerful. And then at the same time, you're looking at last week it closed in a buy. It's in the buy right now. So they're obviously reaching for it with no problem. And that's the chip world, I guess you could say, but it's not taking out the highs here of July. But it's very firm, and it's climbing. And it really adjusted for that big unwind. I wonder how much was invested in Taiwan. And then from there, we go over to right there. And let's take a look at mainland China. There it is right there. Wow, look at that. Nice action. Yesterday they calmed down. It was a gap up, but they didn't really follow through more than just at the beginning. And now today they've added just as much as they gained on Tuesday. Yeah, today's Thursday, right? Yeah, Tuesday. And at the same time, the it's what's interesting is it did not get front run on the weekly. But what was really interesting is you can see for here out of the last what's that? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of the last 7 days, it's been in the buy. And in this case here, it was still underneath. But when you look at the green dots in the bars, it's been buying. They've been buying it. So I have to interpret that like Taiwan, and that is that they knew that the stimulus was coming. They had a good general idea what kind of stimulus it would be, and they're trying to firm up the Asian marketplace. I don't blame them. I mean, if it's good enough for the United States to firm up their products, might as well everybody else should be allowed to do it. And then from there we go over to, let's see. There is, let's see, the STI. There it is right there. And it's Singapore Straight Times. And yeah, that's interesting is that it's backed off for 3 days. And it's in a sell for 3 days. But it's still in that weekly buy. So they anticipated, in many ways it reminds me of the New York Stock Exchange, the way this thing trades. In other words, they have a really good idea or heads up of what markets are going to do before they do them. And they're the most capitalist of all the societies over there. And so they're thinking on a smart way, not a foolish way. That's for sure. That is for sure. And then from there, let's take a look at the Nifty 50. Right there. Now that's taking out highs, They're not looking back there. It's been running and running. Look at that. Right there. There's 5 days. And there's 5 days. And then there's 3 in the middle. So there is 5 days. That was in a buy for 5 days since there. It was in a sell for a couple of days from here. But couldn't get in there until this day there. And then they turned it back up anyway. And then obviously it's in a weekly buy, so you would never take a short here. The most you would do is take some profits. Because why again, traders? Our weekly's been in a buy for, 3/4, almost a full quarter now. 12 weeks. There's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12, 13, and this is the 14th week. And so the money has been roaring towards that direction. From there, we'll jump over to, and that's the Nifty 50 of India we're talking about there. It's showing some real good life. Up in all-time high areas, the whole bit, And so from there, we go over to, let's see, so that's the Nifty 50. So let's take a look at the DAX. See what the DAX is doing. Right there. And it's been acting strong today, very much so. Look at the gap even on it. And it's a second day in a buy. And when it comes to the weekly, we're just starting off with the weekly buy. But it's running pretty firm and strong. So we got 4 more weeks of this. Robin and I were talking about this yesterday. I was like, after the market closed, it's like, well, they're just going to keep on pumping this and pumping it until after the election. All right. From there, we go over to the CAC 40 in Paris. Right there. Now you can see that thing is gapping up and starting to show some real life in it. And I can tell just looking down, you can see that the weekly is flirting. They're all getting into weekly buys. Now, let me tell you about our math. We've been using it for almost 45 years now. So, almost half a century. And so, one of the things that I've learned from it is when we're in all-time territory, you just let it play itself out until it gets into a sell. And, in other words, it's just going to keep on marching up because it's holding on every day. It's in buys and it's not letting go. It's not running away from, the things. Buyers are buying high and buying even higher and getting higher. And they get high, I guess. You can see it here. Here is the S&P 500. We'll just show you that. Look at that. Days upon days and buying. And on a weekly basis, a couple weeks in a buy and out of it all. Let's see, is that a plus or minus? That is a minus. So what we see here is, it's hard to say. Let me just widen it. Give it a refresh. Yeah, that was a minus there. So that minus, there's 3 weeks, and then we went to 2 weeks in a sell and back into 2 weeks in a buy again, and you can see the strength that we've had out of that whole thing. Now this is this SPY, which is only a 7-hour market. It's the New York Stock Exchange hours, basically. Let's see if we can put up the S&P 500 futures contract. Yes. There it is right there. No, look at that. It's just long running daily buy and 2 weeks in a buy also at the same time, and the strength is still there. Now, did we do the FTSE? I don't think we did. We did the CAC 40. Let's do the FTSE. See what the FTSE looks like. That always, usually, to a great extent, the FTSE and the U.S. stock indices march pretty much together. There's the FTSE. And they've been trying to sell it down, and it's been vacillating, and now the algorithm's been in a buy for 2 days, and the dots are red. It's really having a problem. 3 weeks in a sell, and it's trying to climb into that buy. So they haven't signed the deal, I guess. That's the way we always used to say. It's like the deal hasn't been signed. They talk about the deal, they think about the deal, they think what they could do, but in the end result is that the markets are trying to tell us that they still haven't really felt comfortable with this rally. And, I saw a couple analysts in different directions over the last 24 hours saying things like, we're in a sideways chop, and they say stuff like, after the election, the markets will adjust, things like that. And right now they think that we're just going to kind of stumble along sideways. All right, from there, let's shoot over to, let's see, we showed you the S&P 500. Let's show you the Tech 100. Where's the NQ? NQ. Where are you hiding, NQ? We went by that Trump stock. That's kind of interesting. I guess we have to add an NQ. So let's add an NQ. NQ equals F, I'd imagine? Something like that. NQ equals F. Yeah, let's do that. Let's try that one. So what do? We go like that. Like this. Products. Add. And Q equals F. Create. And then let's give us permission to use it. Where's NQ in here? It should pop out any second. Not there. Thought I punched it in there. There. Oh, there it is. Now what we do is we go over here, and you'll be able to see it. No, nothing so far. We'll find it again. It's around here somewhere. Let's put that in there. Come on, NQ, jump out. There it is right there. Look at the strength in that. You know, it's, what is that? That's 5 days and 6 days. So 11 out of the last 12 days, we're in a daily buy. You see, we are 2 full weeks now in a daily buy. You know, they're buying the stuff. They're not letting go. We can go and look at, say, something like Nevada. You know, see what some of the big name stocks are doing. There's Apple. See what Apple's doing. You see, Apple's been sideways up in here, and in a sell for the last couple of days, but in a weekly buy. So that's not getting the strength from Apple. Let's take a look at NVDA. There's NVDA. That I saw it was lifting. Yeah, see that? It's been in a buy for a while. What's interesting is that the algorithm, even with all those green dots, had a problem. It couldn't really get going. And last week, did they get into a plus here? Yeah, they did. So it's a second week in a buy with Nevada. NVIDIA. And, you know, showing that strength. You know, this long plateau here didn't do it any favors, that's for sure. It just was like sideways down. So. Let's go over to, let's take a look at the diamonds. We have DIA up on this thing. That's the Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF. There it is right there. And look at that's yesterday. They're not showing today yet. So because the last I saw, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 219 points. And let's take a look at that weekly. Weekly, it's 3 weeks in a buy. We should put the YM in there. Because, you know, let's take a look at the futures contract. It's a lot easier internationally to look at the futures contracts. And there it is. YM equals F. YM equals F. Create. User, let's get permission to do it. Not there. Not there. Not there. No, not there. Yep, right there. There it is. Let's see, YM. Right there. And here is the futures contract, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You can see it's turning back up from what they gave away yesterday. And you can see those 3 weeks just like the diamonds in a buy. So they're not backing off from there either. I mean, it's just very solid. I'm trying to find other words than what I've said before because I do have a good habit of remembering what I said. And so it's awful hard to challenge a market or take a profit. I mean, you got to take the profits, take a little off the table each time. You just got it because I mean, the markets are roaring here. Got to take a little of this profit because I mean, what happens if it opens down or they slam it and starts to go sideways down for a little while? Yeah, and that's really the real crutch of the matter there. All right, there's that Saudi Arabian oil company on there. It's been working its way down. It's hanging out. It made those lows in the 27s, the 26 area right there. 2680 was the low. But for some reason, it doesn't want to, update on our platform. All right. What else we got going on here? Anybody want to see anything particular? Trying to think what else we got on this chart here that would be fun. Let's take a look at Goldman Sachs. Some of the banks have been getting pushed around. They were reaching for them, because of the interest rate cut, because they can raise rates on people or drop rates. In this case here, when it drops, they don't drop them as fast. They kind of go a little slow. You hear people complain about that, but you can see it's been a couple days in a sell. You can see it's trying to climb into the weekly buy. And then, boy, I should put C in there. It always cracks me up. Let's see who else is in there. Anybody else that's interest sensitive? Some of these ETFs we have, like XLF is a financial ETF. You see it had been rallying and it's now backing off. Actually, you got here 3 out of the last 4 days going down. And you can see it's trying to climb into the buy. But it's definitely 2 solid weeks in a sell. And, it's hard not to own these things because, again, one of the most beneficial things of being a bank or financial institution like this is that when they drop rates, you can, hesitate for, a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before you drop rates. Whereas normally, if they raise rates, the first thing a bank does is it raises the rates simultaneously. They're not going to sit around waiting for it. But when it comes to dropping it, they can take a little benefit out of it. And if they get a little bit more profits for a couple of weeks, that always helps out. All right, traders, I guess that's about the name of that game. I guess what we'll do now is we'll jump out and we will catch you all tomorrow. So tomorrow is Friday. So thank goodness it's Friday already here. And we'll come up with a title for today's action. And we'll go from there. So this is Doc from North America. We will catch you all tomorrow. Same time, same channel. So happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading day. Ta-ta for now.